Juneteenth Cincinnati, in collaboration with the Kennedy Heights Art Center, presents a celebration of the Harlem Renaissance. I remember Harlem. Do you? The Harlem Renaissance encompassed poetry, prose, painting and sculpture, jazz and swing, opera and dance. What united these diverse art forms was their realistic presentation of what it means to be Black in America. What Langston Hughes called an expression of our individual Black selves, as well as a new militancy in asserting our civil and political rights. The name alone does not describe the vast influence that this movement had on not only America, but the world. While the Renaissance was not confined to the Harlem district of New York City, Harlem attracted a remarkable concentration of intellect and talent and served as the symbolic capital of this cultural awakening. Cities like Detroit and Chicago, LA and Philadelphia were also greatly influenced by this great migration, or exodus, so to speak. This exodus of Black artists and intellectuals making their journey from the rural South to the industrialized cities of the North in an effort to express themselves through representing what it means to be and live Black in this oppressive land. But at the height of the movement, Harlem was the epicenter of American culture. The neighborhood bustled with African-American owned and run publishing houses and newspapers, music companies, playhouses, nightclubs and cabarets. The literature, music, and fashion they created defined culture and cool for Blacks and white alike, in America and around the world. Among the Harlem Renaissance's most significant contributors were intellectuals W.E.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, Cyril Briggs, and Walter Francis White, electrifying performers like Josephine Baker and Paul Robeson, writers and poets Zora Neale Hurston, Effie Lee Newsom, Countee Cullen, visual artists Aaron Douglas and Augusta Savage, and an extraordinary list of legendary musicians, including Louis Armstrong, Count Basie, Eubie Blake, Cab Calloway, Duke Ellington, Billie Holiday, Ivy Anderson, Josephine Baker, Fats Waller, Jelly Roll Morton, James Rosamond Johnson, and countless others. Embracing literary, musical, theatrical, and visual arts, participants sought to reconceptualize the Negro apart from the white stereotypes that had influenced Black people's relationship to their heritage and to each other. They also sought to break free of Victorian moral values and bourgeoisie shame about aspects of their lives that might, as seen by whites, reinforce racist beliefs. Never dominated by a particular school of thought, but rather characterized by intense debate, the movement laid the groundwork for all later African-American literature and had an enormous impact on subsequent Black literature and consciousness worldwide. While the Renaissance was not confined to the Harlem district of New York City, Harlem attracted a remarkable concentration of intellect and talent and served as the symbolic capital of this cultural awakening.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Dr. Izzy Rudnick from Cincinnati Public Schools, and it's such a pleasure to present a concert of music of the Harlem Renaissance. This is music that was played in the 1910s, 20s, and 30s in Harlem, New York, by some of the greatest jazz musicians in history. We are going to start out by playing a piece written by one of the greatest jazz pianists. He played a style called the Harlem stride style, and that was the great pianist and composer Fats Waller. This tune is called Ain't Misbehavin', and he wrote it in 1929. He wrote it for the Broadway musical play called Connie's Hot Chocolates. Fats Waller was a dynamic performer. He was an amazing composer, not only of jazz pieces, piano pieces, but also wrote a lot of music for shows, for Broadway musicals. He was a true American genius. He was also an amazing entertainer, was a great comedian, and had a singular rapport with the audience. So here's our version of his great tune called Ain't Misbehavin'. All right. Before I go any further, I want to introduce the Cincinnati Public Schools Jazz Academy faculty. We are so fortunate in Cincinnati to have amazing musicians, and these are 7 of the best around. So it's my pleasure to introduce them to you right now. On trumpet, we have a college student, very, very talented, Miles Twitty on trumpet. On trombone, a very, very respected trombonist and Cincinnati Public School music teacher. He's known all over the city and throughout the state, Mr. Terry Twitty. On the clarinet, a brilliant woodwind specialist on many of the woodwind instruments, a great jazz player, also for many years a very, very respected music educator in the community, Mr. Brad Klein. On tenor saxophone, we have a bright young tenor saxophone star. She writes her own music. She has her own group. She's such an inspiration to all our young musicians, Miss Angie Coyle on the tenor sax. As we move over to the rhythm section, we have on piano a brilliant, creative force in the musical world today. It's such a pleasure to work with him and to be able to listen to his playing, Mr. Ben Tweet on the piano. On bass, we have a Cincinnati jazz legend, and not just a legend in Cincinnati, but throughout this part of the United States. Jim Anderson is universally loved, respected as one of the brilliant musicians of his generation. And I've had the good fortune to work with him on a couple of different occasions, and you'll have an opportunity to hear him up close and personal a little later in the program, Mr. Jim Anderson on the bass. On the drums, a very, very talented young drummer who plays in so many different styles. He's so talented in a variety of musical styles, including jazz. We are fortunate to have Isaiah Cook with us. So the next piece that we'd like to play for you is a piece that was popularized by Fats Waller. And the name of the song is, I'm going to sit right down and write myself a letter. Now, the music is by Fred Allert, but again, Fats Waller was the one who made this song popular. And he recorded it in 1935, and it took pretty much the world by storm. So here's our version of I'm going to sit right down and write myself a letter. One, two, and... So there were so many very influential and important musicians of the Harlem Renaissance. And of course, in this short program, we can't feature all of them. We'd like to focus now on a singer whose unique voice and whose powerful, dynamic expression changed the way songs were sung. And of course, I'm referring to the great jazz singer, Billie Holiday. She's known for several pieces: God Bless the Child, Strange Fruit, Fine and Mellow. We're going to focus right now on a slow ballad that she really made popular. And the name of this ballad is called Lover Man. And when she played it with another jazz musician who she had a brilliant collaboration with, and that was the great Lester Young on tenor saxophone, Prez. And to hear them both play this song is just a unique musical experience. So we'd like to feature our tenor saxophonist with a nod towards Lester Young, and we'd like to do Lover Man for you right now. One of the most important musicians of the Harlem Renaissance and on into many later decades is the great Duke Ellington. He is such an important figure in American music for so many different reasons. A few of them are the following. He documented the Black experience in America in a very creative and celebratory way with compositions such as Black and Tan Fantasy, Black, Brown, and Beige, Take the A Train, so many more pieces, Come Sunday, and one of his most popular pieces is a piece that was actually written by his valve trombonist, Juan Teasel, and the name of it is Caravan. You might remember hearing Ella Fitzgerald sing that particular piece. She did an incredibly great version of that. But Duke did several different versions of Caravan throughout his career. This is a song that is probably played virtually every hour on the hour, pretty much in most countries of the world, as are many of his other great jazz compositions. A few of the other reasons why Duke is so important. He's definitely the most prolific jazz composer in history, writing approximately 2,000 compositions. The fact that he was able to create, mold, and shape an entire orchestra and keep it together, record, travel, tour, perform for over 5 decades is astounding, absolutely astounding. He was also the second American cultural ambassador after Louis Armstrong and took his big band music all over the world. So we'd like to pay tribute to the great Duke Ellington with our version of Caravan. So we'd like to take a minute right now and give you an opportunity to hear just a little bit of each of these instruments, doing a little bit of music on their instrument in this style period during the Harlem Renaissance. So we're going to start out with our horn players, and we're going to hear from Miles Twitty first. Miles, take it away. Yeah. Next, we're going to hear from Terry Twitty on the trombone. Yeah, beautiful. Next, Brad Klein on the clarinet. Yeah. Next, we have Angie Coyle on the tenor sax. Yeah. Next, we have Ben Tweet on the piano. Beautiful. Next, we have the great Jim Anderson on the upright bass. Yeah. And finally, we have Isaiah Cook at the drums. All So we're coming to the end of our program, and we have one more piece that we'd like to play for you, and it features pretty much everyone in the group. This is Billy Strayhorn's composition. Billy Strayhorn, of course, was one of Duke's longtime collaborators, a brilliant, brilliant arranger and composer. And this is a song that I'm sure you'll recognize. It's Take the A Train. Thank you. It's been a pleasure performing for you. The Cincinnati Public Schools Jazz Academy faculty. Thank you. Good night.
As the 1920s came to a close, so did the Harlem Renaissance. Its heyday was cut short largely due to the stock market crash of 1929 and resulting Great Depression, which hurt African American-owned businesses and publications and made less financial support for the arts available from patrons, foundations, and theatrical organizations. However, the Harlem Renaissance's impact on America was indelible. The movement brought notice to the great works of African American art and inspired and influenced future generations of African American artists and intellectuals. The self-portrait of African American life, identity, and culture that emerged from Harlem was transmitted to the world at large, challenging the racist and disparaging stereotype of the Jim Crow South. In doing so, it radically redefined how people of other races viewed African Americans and understood the African American experience.